Morning habits are not just habits, they're emotional circuits. This is Decatur's quest log, Calm Emotions. Let's walk through his morning arousal circuit, how we help him start balanced and not buzzing. First, do you remember Decatur? Decatur was a 10-month-old Portuguese water dog who stayed with me last month for a 5-week board and train. We primarily focused on hyperarousal and reactivity behaviors that his people have been seeing since he was a very, very young puppy. What that means is that he has a lot of trouble regulating himself when he is excited by something, which can be a novel environment, a new person, and especially other dogs. That translates to a lot of reactivity and challenges on walks, difficulty being left alone to settle himself, as well as a lot of sound sensitivity and trouble just existing in his DC home. So this video is going to focus on a simple, repeatable path to help Decatur's mindset so his people can use that in his daily life. You'll see how we meet Decatur's needs, ensure that he's had some mental, physical, and oral enrichment, and then we'll practice moving up and down through arousal levels. So when I say arousal, what am I talking about? Generally, when trainers are talking about arousal, we mean energy in the nervous system. And what's important to keep in mind is that high arousal or arousal at all isn't bad. Arousal is what keeps us alive. It's what fuels play and training and fun, and a lot of those activities can be very high arousal and incredibly enriching for our dogs. But without the ability to balance that, without the ability to regulate it, it can tip into chaos and stress. High arousal without regulation is often where you start to see reactivity in otherwise social dogs. There's too much energy going on and not enough thinking. So our goal here with Decatur is regulation and not elimination. While it's great and it's necessary to teach high arousal dogs to lower their arousal, and we do that as part of his training, it's equally important to teach them then how to move up and down in arousal and how to stay thoughtful, even in exciting moments like the one you're seeing right now. Dogs build emotional momentum throughout their day, and without a plan, that circuit often ramps up into chaos. So with a plan, we can set the tone for calm focus throughout the day. The other thing to keep in mind specifically for Decatur is that he is a young, adolescent, energetic young man. And what that means is that when he comes out of his crate, when he is first awake in the morning, he is bursting with energy. And his people have a lot of things to do to get ready for their day. So creating a circuit that gives them some immediate training immediately meets a lot of his needs one by one, and then helps him set the tone for the day by practicing going up and then coming back down in arousal is one that sets up the entire day and the entire week for success. So first and foremost, at the beginning of Decatur's day, let's burn some energy. Before we do this, we want to have him come out of his crate, keep things calm, try not to reward him for jumping up, try not to really pet him up too much because we want to keep things fairly low energy while we go potty, get some water, make sure that he's voided his bladder and his bowels, and then set into getting some physical energy out in a way that's going to promote regulation and calm. Now, my preferred way of doing this during his board and train very quickly became having him spend some time on the treadmill. We didn't spend too much time on this part because Decatur is less than a year old, and it's always wise to hold off on running or lengthy walks on a treadmill or any sort of repetitive motion like that when your dog's joints aren't fully developed. But we did start to introduce him to the treadmill and spend a couple minutes on it just to start regulating and getting used to that feeling. Thankfully, he took to it really well. So very quickly, he'll be able to move into more challenging walks on the treadmill or even runs on the treadmill as he gets older, if his people choose to introduce that to him as well. Now, what does that do for him? One, it burns some immediate physical energy without him needing to be outside and potentially dealing with triggers. Remember that for Decatur, triggers can include just being outside in an exciting environment, meaning there are birds, there are traffic noises, there are squirrels, there are potentially dogs walking by or barking. So even working in his yard isn't necessarily going to be as successful for him in burning up that energy calmly as a treadmill would be. However, knowing that a treadmill isn't always an immediate option for everybody, a backyard walk is absolutely a good substitute for this. You want to focus on not necessarily on obedience, but more on him being able to have some freedom of movement, but not get too jumpy. I really like sniffy walks or food scatter walks for this, or even a breakfast scatter in the yard to encourage some motion, but motion with purpose. If your dog is particularly sniffy, this is a really good time to bring in one of my favorite structured sniffing activities, decompression tracking, into the picture for your dog. Essentially, you want something low key that burns some of that immediate physical energy without a lot of triggers around. Once you've spent some time with that, the next step is to get him a nice little water break. Let him have some water, let him kind of recover from whatever that experience was, whether it was, going outside and taking in a lot of stimuli, eating maybe some salty food, or going for a little bit of a run on the treadmill. The next thing I move to is bringing that energy back down. So he's going to get off the treadmill, he's going to come in from the walk, and he is going to be amped up. Because remember, our dog here doesn't understand regulating his arousal. And even though, yes, he just burnt a lot of energy, he doesn't know how to take that high energy of doing something exciting, even if it is just exciting as much as movement is exciting. He doesn't know how to take that excitement and bring it back to a relaxed state. So we're going to help him come down with what I preferred for Decatur, the overall relaxation protocol. Dr. Karen Overall developed this protocol. It's a lengthy multi-day protocol where you are essentially adding additional distractions, additional potential triggers, additional potential exciting stimuli into a dog's environment as you have them hold a specific position. I believe the protocol as it was written has your dog holding a sit. I prefer asking them to hold a down just because I think that it promotes a little bit more of that physical relaxation that you're going for, because essentially what you're looking for here is the dog physically relaxing into the pattern of rewards, into the systematically elongated duration, systematically increased distractions added into the environment as you're working through this protocol day by day. I like it especially for Decatur. I've used multiple different relaxation protocols with him over the course of his stay. And I like this one for the morning and for building ability to move up and down through levels of arousal, because it is so structured and he's able to kind of hang on to that structure as he processes delayed reinforcement. And what I mean by that is that if I had asked Decatur to down, or I waited for him to down, and we went into a more relaxation protocol, like Really Real Relaxation by Suzanne Clothier, one of the challenges we would run into is that he would get frustrated very quickly and start barking, which is obviously not something we want to reward, but also not something that we want to continue. So those moments of really real relaxation either needed to be heavily rewarded, which isn't necessarily the goal of the activity, or they needed to be very brief. And I do want something in this circuit to be something that has a good chunk of time attached to it. And so the nice thing about the overall protocol is that it has systematically increased duration. So he didn't have a chance too much to get frustrated. He didn't have a chance too much to indulge in some sensory seeking behaviors. And there's a clear point of reset each time. So when he's done these first several days of the protocol, what we can then do is we can make it a little bit harder by doing this same protocol in different rooms of the house, on a front porch, in the backyard, in places where there are intrinsically more distractions and more stimuli that is exciting for him, and still asking him to relax. Now, for relaxation in general, I don't want every dog that I work with to need to burn off some physical energy, get on a treadmill, go for a run before they're able to do a relaxation protocol. For Decatur specifically, because he is both an adolescent, which already brings with it a lot of trouble with regulating arousal, and also a dog who has this specific behavior challenge, we wanted to pull in both physical energy burning and then relaxation, with the energy burnt specifically before we let him kind of relax and help him move into that relaxed state. Once we're done with our relaxation protocol, we're on to our last step, which is, in theory, our shortest step, is we're looking for arousal regulation. For arousal regulation play, I really, really love the use of pocket toys. These toys are usually ones that can get even a toy-resistant dog playing. The one I specifically have has a bungee cord attached to it, so it springs back. It's got animal fur on it, and it has a nice big pocket that I can put a chicken foot or a pig's ear in, something that's going to be interesting to mouth and very exciting to try to bite. So essentially, when I take out this toy, I want Decatur to sit until he is released. I have a specific release for getting to play, being released to play. It can be as simple as go, 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 or get it, get it, get it, whatever comes out of your mouth, but try to keep it consistent. And if needed, I will cue that first sit that I would love for it to be offered. And essentially, I'm going to play for just a few moments before either Decatur loses his grip on the toy, or I get still, ask for a drop if he can do that. If not, I will drop the toy. If I need to, I might have him on a leash so he can't take it and shake it if that's, that particular dog's excitement. But fortunately, Decatur, being a retriever, does not have a super hard mouth. He's pretty soft mouthed, so it was pretty easy to just kind of rip the toy away. And then I would ask him for a calm behavior. I might again ask him for a sit here, but after the sit, I want him to offer a down. And I'm very careful to try not to cue that down. Reason being, I want him to start getting in the practice, and this was part of our work with him outside as well. I want him to get in the practice of offering a down as a relaxation behavior, as a behavior to show that he is ready and able to move to the next step. So when he offers that down, then Decatur needs to eat. One of the things that is particularly difficult when dogs are not able to regulate their arousal is very often you'll see a change in their eating patterns. Either they will take food almost frantically, often with a very hard mouth, or like Decatur, they will stop taking food altogether. With Decatur, I want him to take food, and not only take food, but take food one piece at a time, chew and swallow that food. The reason being is that chewing itself, licking and chewing and swallowing, and the process of eating is a relaxation of the body. If the body is tense and amped up and you are in a state where you aren't able to take food, just the act of chewing and eating and the thought required to chew and eat something does actually help calm the body down. So for Decatur, because we were up really, really high, I want him to eat sustainably. So that means he takes 5 treats in a row. If he refuses food at one point, he gets offered it one more time. If he can't take it, then oh well. Or if he gets up, then oh well. We start again at the first of 5 treats once he is in a down. Once he gets those 5 treats, the toy comes back out and he is once again excited and invited to play and invited to get excited. This is a fantastic loop to work on with your puppies and your adolescent dogs, even your adult dogs if they struggle with this, because it becomes this lovely little positive feedback loop that stillness isn't frustrating. It is the path to being able to get excited and the path to being able to play again. And when dogs are aware of how to control their environment in that way, that stillness, that patience, that waiting is less frustrating and is less upsetting for them because they know how to turn it off. They move through it to access their play. Over time, Decatur will move up and down through this arousal more easily. For right now, we work on 3 repetitions of this pattern and very, very, very short play sequences, because staying in high arousal makes it harder to come back down. As he gets better at it, we'll make it harder. What that might mean is either taking longer breaks or asking for more behaviors before we invite him to play again. It might mean a longer play session, or it might mean 4 or 5, maybe even 8 to 10 repetitions of the pattern. The big thing is that we're not going to pull any one of those levers down alongside another one at the same time. I want to, if I'm going to make it more reps, we're going to keep these short play sessions. If we're going to do longer play sessions, we're only going to do 3 reps. I'm not combining too many things at once to make things too difficult for him. At the end of that last settle, then surprise, he gets the chew out of the pocket, and we have some structured, intentional calm time. Not necessarily structured, more intentional calm time. Either he goes in the crate to have that calm time, or he's left in a room. But either way, I want him then to start practicing being alone, because that is another difficult thing for Decatur, is being calm and relaxed while he's not receiving specific direction. He's the dog that I would call very, very operant, meaning that he takes on skills and behaviors and direction very, very quickly. He understands cues incredibly well, and he's going to be a very skilled dog. But where his challenge lies is in getting there on his own. Without direction, what does he choose to do? And in many cases, the answer is he simply doesn't know. So what I want from this is we're going to take all of these skills that he's been working on for the last half hour to 45 minutes or so, and we're going to say, okay, you have a chew, you have something to start you off. Now you're going to relax on your own. And that might mean initially crating just to help him kind of have limited space and limited options, but can move into having him relax in a room of the house, having him just relax away from his people, but specifically practicing some alone time so he gets some of that practice as well as part of this morning routine. As part of this pattern, Decatur is getting a chance to burn energy, meet enrichment needs, practice settling calmly and patiently, and then really, really emphasizing the transition between high arousal to low arousal and back again. By giving him this morning arousal circuit, we're giving Decatur a daily pattern of balance rather than burnout in a way that is sustainable and progressible, able to progress as he gets more and more capable of handling more and more arousal. If you're excited for more case files in our quest log, go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment below and let me know what behaviors you'd want to see next.